If we were taught nothing, it was what we do, despite what we are trying to accomplish, there is always going to be someone that is trying to push us down. And Albert Einstein so eloquently stated, ideas receive violent opposition. What I believe Albert Einstein is trying to say is that your idea is there's always going to be people who are adverse. We can examine his quote in three main points of analysis. First, Ida B. Wells. Second, through the laws and the leadership of Barack Obama. And third, the book To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. First, so we can look at the life of Ida B. Wells. Although she isn't most prominent, is a figurehead of the civil rights movement. Despite what many people don't know about her, she was enough when one of her friends was killed because he stood against lynching. And although despite her agenda looking as if a personal gain, she had something better in mind. Despite what other people said, despite the threats, despite the belittling she had received from countless Americans and abroad who thought that her idea, her being a woman and her trying to fight against racism was all for nothing. And she took into consideration that it was for a bigger purpose. So she decided that she was going to do whatever it was to go and actually do something. Now, this relates to eloquently health. Despite the opposition that she received, while she was speaking against religion and the way African Americans didn't get the respect that they deserved, that no matter what these mediocre minds thought was a bad change, she would still do something. Second, we could look at the leadership of Barack Obama. Nowadays, Barack Obama is being state barrel because he has an opposition for guns. He wanted guns to be taken away from people who would use them for the wrong reasons. So he made a strict gun control law, and people are looking toward him as if he's making the wrong decision. They keep on quoting that due to the Second Amendment, they have the right to carry. And he's not trying to stop them, but rather trying to tell people that so many people are dying from gun-related incidences. And despite what you say, I know that this is for the better. Countless children are being killed, countless young men are being gunned down every day. And despite what others said, because they never truly saw what was happening, saw the detriment that is being put on the American society and the American government, he's still continued to back against the wall. And he started to say that no matter what you say, no matter what you do, I will still follow through with my goal. Because I know for a fact that gun control is a good thing. So eloquently to Albert Einstein's quote again, where he states that despite what you're trying to do, despite the great idea, you always will be met with violent opposition from mediocre minds. Again, we can also look at the story of To Kill by Harper Lee. In To Kill a Mockingbird, a girl named Scout, a young girl in a southern town, saw what was happening, saw how her town was the Americans because they weren't perceived as equals, or rather property or something lesser than the white peoples of that time. But Scott decided that it wasn't about the color or of their pigment, but rather what they had in their heart. She also had fun with all the African American children and decided that it wasn't about who they looked like, but rather what they are and what they were. And they were people too. Scott shows the reader as you flip through the pages, because he can't truly put it down, that she, despite the opposition that she received, despite the threats that her father received because of how open she was to African Americans, she didn't care. She decided that enough was enough, and she took the time to show that the great idea about the American race and about the human race is that we can all be unified. Now, what I don't want you to do is just push this out of your mind and say, what great ideas I have will always be shot down. But what you must do is you must push through and fight through it. You must be strong and you must hurl over the tribulations and trials that you face, because that is the only way you can make the world a better place. Would you ever think that we would have won the war if it were not for Albert Einstein, who made the atomic bomb? And although it wasn't his idea to use it, he still had the idea and allowed it to go through, because he knew that it was for a good reason. Now, what I want us to do today is not think about all the people who are going to stop us from doing what we want to, rather what we can do to better society. Thank you.